Welcome back, My name is Hyper, and normally you will have an introduction here. But this time, I'll let the footage speak for itself. Give it a minute. Did we break? Koumei is the newest frame in the game. Her kit is very unique, with 2 special mechanics not found anywhere else. Her 5 fates, which are the dice on the bottom right of your screen, and access to special curated list of divinity decrees via her second ability, Omikuji. Koumei's first ability is called Kumihimo. She shoots a projectile, a Weaver Star, that will travel hovering above ground level. It can bounce off walls, and while it travels, it will project up to 24 threads charged with random elemental energy. Enemies in contact with those threads will receive damage and a forced status effect. Don't try to build too much range on her, nor too much duration on her. You're limited to 24 active threads, whether by multiple casts or by a single long-range one. I was able to confirm it. If the Weaver Star keeps traveling and reaches the thread limit, you won't see any more new threads as it travels further. It seems to max out at 160% range, but more tests are needed. The second tip here is the Weaver Star is an actual projectile. You can headshot with it, although it doesn't receive the regular headshot bonuses. It also cannot go through Mutualist Quanta. The threads of the ability deal 25 points of damage for every 100% strength on your frame, multiplied by the 5 fates roll when it's cast. It's pretty easy to reach between 250% and 350% strength nowadays, so the ability will deal on average roll 900 to 1300 damage, with the spikes above 2000 damage if you have above 300% strength. For reference, the perfect charge shot of Nataruk deals 900 base damage. Of course, the threads cannot crit, but unlike Nataruk, a single cast can force up to 24 status effects on the enemy, if it touches all threads. That's the main point of this build. We will force the enemies to come to us. As a final talking point about Kumihimo, the duration of the status effects forced by the ability is not tied to your duration. The second ability of Koumei is Omikuji. On cast, it will give you a challenge, and once you complete it, you will receive a random divinity decree from a pre-selected list, which you can reference in the description below. Koumei's decree effects have indefinite duration. You will keep them for the remainder of the mission, even if you die. You can hold cast the ability if you don't want to complete a specific challenge, and more importantly, it's not tied to any stat. Duration, strength, and range do not affect it. The third ability, Omamori, functions like a randomized mesmer skin. On cast, it will summon 1 floating charm for every point on your 5 fates roll. Those have a fixed 15% chance of transforming damage into health on the next hit you take. It has an internal cooldown of 3 seconds before triggering again, and it's the Helminth ability you will acquire from her. It's, well, deceptively useful, despite its randomness, as it will mitigate the damage you take regardless of how much it heals you. Omamori does not scale with duration either, but its healing effect is amplified by your strength. Her ultimate ability is Bunraku, a cone of 170 degrees, almost a semicircle, that will entangle every enemy within 30 meters of Koumei. The enemy is disabled for 20 seconds and receives 500 puncture damage and random elemental damage, alongside as many forced physical or elemental status effects as your 5 fates roll. The status effects caused by the ability won't tick down until the ability expires or half a minute has passed. What does that mean? It means that in order to maximize damage, you need to lower your duration. All abilities are increased by a 5 fates roll containing 3 sixes. This roll is known as a Shadow's Trinity. A Trinity Kumihimo will summon shining white threads that inflict 1 stack of every status on the enemies. A Trinity Omikuji will give you a decree instantly, without any challenge. A Trinity Omamori will make you invulnerable until all charms are consumed. And finally, a Trinity Bunraku will affect enemies even behind you. According to tests, we can conclude the 5 fates dice rolls are loaded. Yes, Koumei cheats. Thanks VR for the confirmation. Since 2 of 4 abilities ignore duration, and the last one deals more damage the less duration you have, the build I suggest is as follows. Low duration, neutral efficiency, 145% range, and the highest strength possible. We slot in Blind Rage, Arcane Continuity, Arcane Stretch, and Fleeting Expertise as our stat modifiers, alongside Primed or Arcane Flow and Equilibrium for energy economy. As defensive measures, Brief Respite on the Aura, Prime Sure-Footed on the Exilus, and Rolling Guard and Catalyzing Shields to round up the build. Arcane Energize and Molt Augmented finalize the frame. Blind Rage and Transient Fortitude are 2 sides of the same coin. Both will increase strength. However, Transient will make your Bunraku much shorter, which can be desirable in some setups, and Blind Rage will make your shield gating perfect. Run both and see which one you like the most. Here we went for the perfect shield gating. It was very useful on our Tubal Commons tests, and the extra damage on our Kumihimo was just the cherry on top. Arcane Continuity is very solid on her. Don't expect to see full armor strips even if she's using 2 Emerald Arcane Shards. However, the ability to make Corrosive more consistent is invaluable on a kit that lacks stripping tools. The setup requires Nautilus with its Cordon mod, plus any pistol with 1 Over mod. A melee Vortex weapon can work here as a substitute of Nautilus, but it will work wonders as a secondary grouping tool. Nautilus build is very flexible, but I would suggest you to run the usual Vacuum and Instinct combo alongside Mystic Bond, or Reinforced Bond if you have access to the Prime one and want to test weapons with it, and Synth Deconstruct. Unlike other builds, I strongly suggest you to run specific schools, depending on what kind of experience you want to have or you want to play with. Bassarin is for endurance runs, Madura is for survival, conjunction survival, Eidolon and disruption runs, and Uniros for general use. As you saw during this guide, Omikuji's decrease can buff our operator. The abilities of the focus schools become an integral part of the final build. Bassarin's Guardian Shell is invisibility on demand, Madurai's Body Strike is roughly the equivalent of 3 extra Merciless Arcanes fully stacked, and Uniro's Caustic Strike is a universal armor strip. All of them are invaluable, and Koumei gives you the unique ability of spamming all 3 if you have access to some of her decrees. The playstyle is simple but very active. Cast Omikuji as you load into the missions, and recast it every time it comes off cooldown, rejecting the challenges that you don't want to complete. In combat, find a good place to camp if survival, or go look for the objective as normal, and cast your Kumihimo towards the enemies every time its threats expire, while casting Bunraku every 6 to 7 Kumihimos. Sometimes it's a little lower. As you collect degrees, lower the threshold of Kumihimos gradually up to maybe 4. That will allow you to maximize damage while keeping yourself alive. Once you have access to any combination of 2 ranks in the Proficient Fighter and Bios Economy or Bounce Back degrees, you can start weaving your operator abilities in between casts. It's a very active playstyle that can fit a wide variety of challenges. Feel free to experiment with the weapons. The one that I would strongly suggest is Epitaph. Its one-handed quickshot can be used in quick succession to Kumihimos. And Galvanized Shot multiplies twice on the charge shot. That alone will allow you to deal insane amounts of damage to pretty much anything. Secondary Fortifier is very useful. Not only it will help you deal with XMI quickly, the overguard provided by the Arcane will come in clutch time and again, especially in Bot Cascade. Just as a reminder, if you have further questions, ask away in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. Thanks for clicking on this video, and I wish you the best of luck playing Koumei. She's very unique, and her frame is special, deserves a spotlight. If anyone at DE is looking at this video, congratulations, Koumei is such a blast to play. We'll be taking a look at other frames soon, so stay tuned. And take care, Tenno. See you in the next one.